Hi guys, this is Ms. Keller, and I created these videos so that you guys could be kept up to speed since you're working on your future city project. So you've been really busy with that, and so we have in class been working on our chemical interactions unit with investigations 1 through 3. You've been kind of in and out, so I wanted to go through just some key points, important ideas, and some of our learning targets so that you could be kept up to speed for when you come back. Also, part of this might be a little review for you and hopefully an extension and a push forward. If you have any questions, make sure you indicate those on your video note-taking sheet. So you should have a video note-taking sheet that looks very similar to this with investigations 1 through 3. And right now I just have 1 through 2 on there because classroom and I just want to kind of see where we go. So looking at investigation 1, we talked about elements, substances, Mendeleev, the periodic table, and chemical reactions. So I'm going to take you through and you're going to follow along with your note-taking sheet. Some of this will be on your own using FOSS-Web as well. So looking at chemical reactions, here at this table that I have for us, you can see that I have 2 columns, elements on one side and substances on the other. Looking at those 2 columns and the contents within the columns, I want you to be able to come up with a definition for elements versus substances on your own, which is a little higher level. So looking at elements, we have nitrogen, sodium, potassium, helium, hydrogen, calcium, and sulfur. And these are just a few of the 90 or so elements that we can find in our everyday lives on Earth, and they're used as building blocks to make everything else that we have on Earth. So for example, we have some substances on the right hand side here: water, H2O, citric acid, C6H8O7, sodium bicarbonate, NaHCO3, sucrose, which is a very big molecule, C11H22 and O13. So you can see that these substances are made of some of our elements. And the numbers indicate how many hydrogens or how many oxygens, how many of each element that I have that make up the substance. So with all these different elements and all of the different amounts of atoms that I can have in an element, I can make a ton of substances, millions upon millions of substances. And so that makes what we have in our world. So that is a basic introduction of the periodic table and elements versus substances. Further investigation into chemical reactions here and our periodic table, we can look at the periodic table. So you're going to be reading about a man named Mendeleev who started creating the periodic table and organizing the elements. So there's instructions on your video note-taking sheet where it will tell you to go to FOSS-Web. You can do an e-reading, or you can also use the green book that I have in the classroom. The reading starts on page 3 and ends on 13. So if I go to FOSS-Web and I log in with information that you have available to you, you can click on chemical interactions. That's the unit that we're in. You then may go down here to the ebooks and it'll guide you through on how to get to the ebook, and it'll show you the reading. So my computer is thinking, of course. And if you're working on a bite speed, it will probably take you a little while as well. So here pops up my ebook. That book should look very familiar to you. You are going to start on page 3 with elements and read through page 13. Also, you'll notice on your video note-taking sheet that there's some questions that just have you explore the periodic table. We spent a couple days doing that in class, and I think it's important for you to have an idea of all these elements around you in your everyday life that you see and may have heard of before. So if you go back to this page here, you should be able to click on periodic table And once you get here, there's a really nice interactive periodic table for you. So if I click on, I really want to know more about Li, which is lithium. And so I click here for details. And it'll tell me that lithium was found originally in Sweden. But the thing that I really would like you to look at is what it's used for. So you can kind of get an idea for, oh, maybe I've heard of lithium before. Lithium is used in medicines. It's also used in batteries, if you've heard of lithium batteries. And it also looks like here it's used in grease products. Natural forms, I can find it in lithium chloride salt. So that is where you're going to look for most of your information that is required for you on your video note-taking sheet. I also can go here where it'll show me the groupings, the different categories, which you're also looking for. There are several different categories. I can click on one and it'll highlight it for me. I can then go back and I can look at the top 10 elements that are in the entire Earth. Or I can look at the top 10 elements that are in a human. So you can explore around, spend as much time on here as you want. It's pretty interesting. You can also look for the date of discovery, the ones that have been discovered most recently, or the oldest elements that were discovered. And then the standard state, this is also very interesting. You can look to see which elements are at a standard state, 25 degrees Celsius room temperature, if they're a solid, liquid, or gas. So you can click here and it'll tell you solid, liquid, or gas. There's also a game here. I'm sure some of you will be wanting to play that. So if you would like to spend some time with that, you may as well. So that takes us through the periodic table. And again, you're reading pages 3 through 13 and working through your video note-taking sheet. Chemical reactions. We did a chemical reaction with the mystery mixture in class. I know you were in for a little bit with that. But with that being said, I just want to square away some big ideas here. Before a chemical reaction, with our chemical reaction in class, we started with water, we started with baking soda, and with citric acid. 3 separate substances. And those substances are made of, you guessed it, elements. After I added that water in, a chemical reaction occurred. And afterwards, I had this new liquid, and a lot of people said it looked like Sprite. It had bubbles in it, and it was clear, looking like Sprite. So this new liquid and a gas. And that gas we found out was carbon dioxide, CO2. So a new substance is created, and this is a very vital point that I want to make, that if I have a chemical reaction, something brand new is made from the ingredients that were used. So I have this new substance created and I can't go back. Okay, it's different from a phase change, which is what we'll get to later in our unit. So how do I know that I had a chemical reaction? I don't know. Let's look. Well, I can have a change in temperature. So with our mystery mixture, the chemical reaction that I explained back here, after I added that water in, and if you touch the cup to your hand right away after the reaction happened, you would notice a change in temperature. So sometimes a temperature increase or decrease can occur. Change in color, we had that. Those baking soda and citric acid substances were white, and then we ended up with a clear liquid. Bubbling or fizzing, that means a gas was produced, and we had that with our reaction. An odor, sometimes you can smell an odor, and a new liquid or solid is produced. So here's that idea of something brand new is produced. Okay, that brings us to the big points of investigation 1 and 2, and then we will work on 3 as you guys get back through with your Future City project. So I'm very proud of you. Thank you for all your hard work with Future City. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have questions on what I just went through very, very quickly, I know. So you might have questions. And looking at this video note-taking sheet, I tried to highlight the key points. And then if you have questions, just write some. If they pop up while you're watching this video, write them down below and then I will answer them. So hopefully this helped. Give me feedback because this is the first time I've done this. So I will talk to you later. Thanks, guys.